sound of yesterday. Barstools and Bandtalk, and memories live on. Barstools and Bandtalk with Dave and Sean.
That's me. That's the other fella.
That's me.
Okay, no, I almost put it backwards.
And this is Barstools
And Bandtalk, the complete, whatever it is.
Maritime Music Bucket List.
Yeah, I might lose that.
Well, welcome, friends.
I'm Dave.
Really looking.
Sean.
I'm Sean. Yeah, you know who we are. Really looking forward to this. We were just chatting with this young lady. I got to tell you, yeah, look at that, eh? What do you call that? Shameless self-promotion. Anybody that would have been out in the bar scene in the, we'll call it the late 80s.
Midley, yeah.
There was drama, there was Razor Boy, but there was a band that originated from Montreal that were just absolutely phenomenal and trailblazing in a way because they did vocals that weren't on tape.
Yeah.
And they had a bass player who was fantastic. She was a wicked musician, very nice person. I just found out she's from Sydney, Cape Breton, so that's pretty exciting. Dave's going to introduce her, and we're going to have some fun on this segment.
This is seriously about 4.5 weeks in the making. God love her. Colleen Coadic, and she's in Alaska. So there's a 5-hour time difference, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. She's just telling us about this crazy earthquake that happened. So it was, we had a lot of talk before the show. But she's been a big fan or we've been a big fan of hers for a long time. And Sean and I always think back to when we first started with Starmaker, and we were able to get into all these bars for free because we had a musician's union card, and we'd go to watch Fear of Flying, and it was the first time I had seen a band ever do Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. It blew my mind. Now, we weren't old enough to see Titan do it, but when I watched them do it and Mr. Roboto and the theatrics that went on it, they were just an amazing band, and really, again, for us, just turn a corner for what was shaping to come. But we're going to hear the stories directly from here. Because Colleen Coadic is here from Alaska. There she is.
Hello.
Oh,
Howdy.
your ears are burning. We were just saying nice things about you.
All right, hold on. I'm messing with my screen here. There we go. I feel like we're half of the Brady Bunch here with this gallery view going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Eh?
We need Bobby over here. We need what was Alice? She was the maid?
Well, if you
Allison.
point, Sean, if you look up, and Dave, if you look to your right, and I look to my,
Like that?
Go the other way. Sorry, I was wrong. Go
This
turn
way?
that. Here we go. Now you look up, Sean. Perfect.
Ah,
From
look
my
at that, eh?
Here's a story. Come on. About a lovely lady. who's sitting with-
Oh, you know what?
Here's a story about a man named Brady.
Yeah. Anyway, you know what, Dave? Practice on your own time, as they say. We're here to conduct business, serious business, sir.
I'm
Colleen,
thinking
it's great.
Oh, thanks, you guys. It's great to see you guys. Thank
Yeah.
Well, you
for
kind of
all-
look like Carol Brady all of a sudden, because you weren't Carol Brady last time I saw you. You look more like one of the Brady, like the dark-haired Bradys. But now you're like
that. Oh, wait,
lighter Brady.
Who was the dark-haired Brady? Cindy
Well-
was blonde. Marcia was blonde too, wasn't she?
Yeah, all the boys
great.
were
So
dark.
I'm the in-between sister who was always like a weird chick. That was her name. Now we've offended Brady people everywhere.
That's
Well,
right.
okay. So just before we go on, what did Mr. Brady do for a living?
Architect.
He was an architect,
Architect.
Mhm.
Very good. What did Mrs. Brady do for a living?
Gold digger.
homemaker,
She was a gold digger.
You did not.
trophy wife.
Wow. I want to personally apologize on behalf of myself and Colleen for Dave's nonsensical retort. That's just, wow. Anyway.
Close the business season, brother.
Call it.
Close the business season.
Yeah, great.
Good.
So before we started recording, learned a lot about you. Obviously, haven't talked to you in a long, long time, but
Yeah,
I had no idea you're from Sydney.
from Sydney.
Have Had no idea you have a brother living in Eastern Passage, which is very cool.
Just a hop, skip, and a jump from you.
That's right.
Yeah. You're also on the Benjamin Button package there because you look like you're aging in reverse.
Oh.
Yep.
When it's been
Last is the earthquake and some other stuff, but how you been keeping?
It's been an interesting time. You know, you hit some years where you're like, oh, apparently I'm doing all of my growth right now, or all of the crazy things are happening right now. The challenge is to get me to the next place I want to be. Overall, great, doing a myriad of things. In some ways, none of them music. I'm in an 80s band, and we have a gig tomorrow night, actually. Our first one past pandemic. Yeah, it's super fun. They're super fun bunch of guys, and I've played with most of them. Well, I played with the guitar player, girl, Lisa Ballard, for several years. I think Paul played with Lisa, too. We had a disco band up here in, I want to say, gosh, I don't know, 10 years ago at least or something. That the place that had Pete from Ettinger come up, and Paul and I with Fear of Flying, and a lot of other Canadian bands, like Tim Hewitt's band came up.
Right.
And it's called Chilku Charlie's, and yeah, that's where. So that's the place. That's how we all got here.
And all stayed.
Yeah,
And
you know where I was going to go with that, because we talked to NJ, we talked to Peter. Now Peter is going to get the Zoom figured out. Peter Enger is going to come on the show. He's going to get he's going to get the Wi-Fi figured out. But anyhow, I can't understand what happened that they all stayed up there. I just don't get it. And MJ said it's very much like home. She's in. Now she's from Gander.
Very much like home. The feeling immediately when I got off the plane was so welcoming, and the people were just so open, and they're kind of, well, it's the last frontier, so they're pioneers for the people, right? East Coasters are like that. We've always had to work super hard for what we have, and it's like that here, and friendly. And that was the thing. I thought, oh, these are just like down home people. So
okay.
And some job opportunities. I mean, that club alone put Paul and I to work. Geez, I don't know. I think I formed like 13 bands for that club over the years.
Wow.
And Paul and I just had a blast, playing there with Fear of Flying and a few other bands.
Yeah, and I mean, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Colleen.
Recording. I think on my first album, he did some recording.
Love
to do that. Yeah. I know.
Paul.
Paul's
the Earth guy. Yeah.
So Fear of Flying. So we'll start with that because Dave and I in the intro. So we can't hear Bohemian Rhapsody anymore. Not thinking Fear of Flying. And the intro was a little something like this. A lot of people now use vocal tracks and different sorts of things. And I remember you guys doing it. I remember talking to you and Derek at the time about, how much you guys rehearsed to actually get that. Somebody posted a recording of that on our site about 4 weeks ago.
It had to be Danielle Delphin, right? Flip, the keyboard player in Fear of Flying?
Yeah, that's who it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there listening to, I was like, okay, they're going to screw it up. They're going to screw it up. I'm waiting. And it never happened. I mean, it was just like, wow. And that band was just so theatrical, so cool, so different from,
We really worked hard at that. It was, I think of it a lot of Derek's vision and his now wife, Chantel. I mean, they had great fashion sense kind of thing, and thought, okay, well, we're never going on stage with sneakers. We need to look the next level up if that's where we want to go. So we worked a lot on coordinating those kind of things. I came from a theater background, so I was excited, like, yeah, I'll put that prop together. No problem, Right on. Yeah. And we enjoyed that too. It got crazy sometimes, for sure, but it worked.
Well, Mr. Roboto, I remember doing the stick stuff and the masks and everything. It was cool. Like, it was just like, you guys were, it was almost like an out-of-body experience. Like you weren't watching a band anymore. And although there was people who were dancing, but it's like you really sat back and watched that thing. And that's what I like.
Yeah, in fact, I would say we had more people that would watch from the dance floor, just come up front or whatever, than we had dancers most times, because we're a danceable band, but you didn't know what we were going to do next. So, and we might do it in the same song, or, 2 songs later, a whole costume change or something like that. Yeah. And that was before, I mean, it's some stuff now I would think might be hokey, you know, and if we thought back to it, it might seem hokey because there's so many other things you can do now with, you know, the electronic era. But that was all tangible, you know, do-it-yourself kind of stuff that we dragged around in a big costume.
Little tickle trunk.
Yeah, that's right. And that's right, tickle trunk.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it would be hokey. Hokey to me is what you see in maybe one of every 4 bars that you go to in this town right now, where some dude with a baseball cap on tapping his foot doing whatever. And I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but one of the themes that's coming out with a lot of people is the show. It's few and far between. It's not there anymore.
Well, because there's a generation of kids that grew up with the rock video games and stuff, and they just really didn't learn to play an actual instrument or the discipline that it takes to do that. We might be the last generation that kind of really sank in on what we were doing. I mean, you think of guys like Paul, at the age of 10, he was playing drums and like 5 other instruments, you know, and we all grew up with that. Kitchen parties, and 5 members of our families were musicians, and, you know, things like that.
Well, and that's the thing. And, you know, so when I think about you, and the other thing too that I said in the intro, and not even, you know, ashamed to say it, to see typically when you saw females in the band, they were singers. Yeah. To see a female bass player was great, but it wasn't like you were a female bass player. You were a great bass player that just happened to be a girl.
Yeah, it was an interesting time for me too, because my dad was a bass player, but I didn't learn to play bass from him. He was actually kind of a famous Cape Breton guy in his day. But the band that I sang a couple of songs with in Prince Rupert, the bass player just up and quit one day, and they said, well, do you want to play bass? And I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned it on the spot basically and just hit the stage. And, you know, I've kept with it. Like I have my Steinberger still.
I was
going to say that.
Freaking Steinberger. We had Willie Dobson on.
Baby. Yeah. Man, that thing's a workhorse. And then, so I played bass in subsequent bands, but I've played, you know, acoustic guitar and electric guitar and even ukulele. I just got a new carbon fiber ukulele to mess with.
Fiber ukulele, holy mackerel.
Yeah.
I said my JC Doan, it looked like a flying V. I had one. That's what my ukulele was.
Awesome. Yeah.
I smashed it one day.
That poor Steinberger, man. There was one night, I think I did the flip around thing like the guys in ZZ Top were doing, but I didn't move my head back far enough, and I saw stars. Oh. It's carbon, so it's heavy, and, you know, give yourself a slight concussion kind of thing. And hopefully I get a cool look on my face, like that was on purpose.
Yeah. Those basses are one of the few basses that sounded great, and you could allow you to break into a car at the same time. They were solid.
Women, there's the obvious for women, right? Like for me, it was comfortable to wear because it didn't impinge on parts of my anatomy. So
fair enough. So
I always called the pocket fishermen. I thought they were the old pocket fishermen. That's what I thought these basses looked like, right?
Yeah. I had a Rickenbacker for a while that I really liked, but then I started playing harder, and I didn't like the rattle of strings as much. Like on a Steinberger, you can beat the crap out of that, and it's just going to sound more dirty and heavy, you know, if you hit it harder. Well,
I played with 3. Well, I've known 3 people who had one, and I just met my 4th. So there's you had one, Willie Dobson had one, Glennon McBurney had one, and Todd Harry had one. And I just thought they were the weirdest looking thing, but everybody who played them loved them, just loved them, right?
Oh yeah. They are so versatile. And for me, I'm all about, and I've definitely gotten, as time goes on, more this way. I want my gear where I can just carry it in 2 hands, and that's it. I'm loading it in, and I'm not breaking my back, and I'm not, you know, because it's like winters up here kind of demand that. You could be sloshing through feet of snow and ice, and what's the purpose? It takes the fun out of gigging if you have to hustle so much to, you know, get your gear in.
So I guess you're not using an A10 Ampeg cabinet then, I guess, eh?
No. I got a smaller setup now, and a lot of times I'll just run straight off the board, you know, depending on what the gig is.
Oh, okay.
And just fill it in.
It's funny you mentioned that, Colleen, because I didn't know a few years ago with our band, Play with the Band, and anyway, the drummer of the other band brought this. It was like a freaking Iron Maiden kit, and it was like, you know, 1 kick drum, 8 toms, all. Anyway, he wouldn't let anybody use it, so I go in with my 4-piece kit, and one of the guys goes, look at the kit. And I said, yeah, he clearly doesn't play a whole heck of a lot because he brought every stinking thing that he's got in his basement. I had basically, he was still there after the show was over and packing the shit up. I had all 4 of my drums on my back and in my truck in 10 minutes, and out the door I went. So the gigging musician knows that, yes, it looks good, but it's not practical.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can tell a newbie or a home player by that, right?
He does
100%.
You just
What's that?
You bipped out there for a second, but you're back. That's how you work it.
Oh, I get somebody calling me that's, anyway, it doesn't matter.
No.
We're talking to Colleen, so that's what matters right now.
We're talking
Pardon me?
So we're talking about Sydney. So I wanted to ask the question because, again, and Sean touched on it very briefly, but I mean, you broke barriers in our time frame. And I say our time frame. I mean, I know that certainly a lot of female musicians, but in our time frame, you were the only one that I can honestly say from mid 80s on that was an awesome bass player, but a bass player. And even for that matter, I don't know a whole lot of other female guitar players. It shows, how hard was that for you?
I was pretty supported throughout my time. See, I think I had the advantage in British Columbia. The guys I started playing with, they were all theater majors, so it was nothing, and we were in. So I just picked it up and I thought I can do this. It took a little bit of woodshedding, but got it down. By the time I hit flying, I was actually on my way to Europe with a backpack on my back and some money in the bank. I thought, I think I should give music a try here. So the band wasn't even looking for a bass player. I just stormed into the agent's office with another friend of mine, a woman drummer from Sydney, actually, too, Monica Holler. And we said we did some interviews or auditions or something. And I don't know if it was an official thing that was happening. Peter Christmas was the bass player. And I went out and jammed with the band with Vaughn, and Michel Demure was still the first in Fear of Flying at that time, and Derek and Flip, and was terrified. I had woodshedded serious for that gig because I felt like I was in bed, but I thought no one's ever gonna know, like I'm just gonna do this. So, and then like Vaughn was incredibly supportive. He's just salt of the earth guy too. So he just, I don't know about took me under his wing, because those guys were all like 10, 12 years older than me. And I got the wisdom, I guess, of another Maritimer who had been through it kind of thing. So never got any, there was some sexism, I think, but I've never been the kind of person to like back down. I'll nose to nose whoever wants to, bring that kind of silliness.
Just keep
up.
Britain there. Look, there's Sydney.
That's right.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's making sense because I remember you being that way, and I remember you being feisty in certain situations.
Oh, it's saucy?
Well, no, never to me, but I've seen, no, I can remember, anytime that I was ever around you guys, I remember Derek being the good guy, but it was like, we'll have fun after we work hard and do the show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we were very serious. We had as part of our rider, we had 2 drinks, but not until after the gig was over. We didn't drink on stage. And we just took it really seriously, including when I remember when we were rehearsing Bohemian Rhapsody with Paul, we had rented this cabin somewhere in Quebec to just go there. I think it was for a weekend, but it seemed like months. And when Paul and I are lying on the floor trying to learn our parts, 8 hours a day, because we were all picking, say, interval in the song, we had to pick up parts that, like a part for Derek that might be too high was good for me and good for Flip, so that we would, figure out who's going to do that. So you're actually almost writing a new song, and it's quite difficult because it has to be my memory that you're getting those intervals, not from, I'm just following a fifth here through the song,
Well, a lot of people don't realize when you're harmonizing, that's certainly always been a challenge for me, but is to kind of listen to yourself, listen to other people, but don't over listen to other people because it can freak you up. And it's especially a song like that. I mean, it's just like, it was, studio tricks.
Yeah. I had a choir teacher in Prince Rupert, wonderful man, Peter Witherley. He was so supportive. He stopped choir class one day to do an entire cassette at that time of warm-up best for me because he knew I was going on the road.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I had that as my workout tape, you know, every time I was going to go on stage. It was so lovely. Like, what a great thing to have, right?
That's awesome.
And so he was great at helping with harmonies, obviously. He actually taught me to sing with less volume and back, because I could out-sing volume-wise 50 people in a room easily, no problem. I wish he hadn't done that, because you need that in some rock situations. If you're fronting the band, for instance, you don't need to be a choir background singer. You need to be full throttle, you know.
Yeah.
But it's never really been a problem.
To take us back now, like, let's just figure out, so the time frame. So you were from Sydney. You said you played a talent show in Sydney somewhere along the line. You're just
in junior high. I think there was two of us from 7th grade, I want to say.
okay.
And so it was that Melissa Manchester song, "Don't Cry Out Loud." And there's like a few hundred people in the audience, mostly parents, right? Because it's all their kids in the show. And I played guitar, and someone had to tune the guitar for me because I got so nervous. I forgot how to tune the guitar, and it was like 5 minutes before I was going on. But when I got on stage, that feeling of, oh, wow, you know, that hit, and I got the bug.
And it's that because you often get people they'll say, I don't know how you can get up in front of a bunch of people. And we just kind of do it. I mean, it's something every musician has. I mean, you want to be the center of attention and whatever. But very few people ever talk about that first time and don't talk about throw up because they've never done it before.
No, it's the opposite. Now there's days where it depends on what the gig is, but I can get quite nervous these days. And I wonder if it's just having to do with the life I led, you know, taking care of my husband and just being in an isolated area or something like that. Like maybe that affects your ability to just now go into a room of people and not until you're actually singing, and then you settle down into it, you know, you're playing or something.
Well, let's get to that point.
Maybe.
So you're in Sydney. Your mom moves you out to Prince Rupert. You're out there. You start your first band. You end up going meeting the guys in Fear of Flying in Montreal.
Yeah, on my way to Europe. Yeah, they were in their time.
Okay.
I went to see the band. I just had a feeling like, I think I want to be a part of this band. I didn't know anything about them at the time. They were changing their name from Quick Step to Fear of Flying.
Okay.
We voted on that name, Fear of Flying. I don't know why. It's not actually a positive name when you think about it, right?
No.
It's like 7 band names that Hayes and Horseman had come up with.
Yeah.
Said, okay,
Yeah.
I'll pick one of these.
You're gonna be a rock star. What kind of a run did you have? How long were you in how long did Fear of Flying exist for?
We toured almost like every day, but like 10 days a year for 4 years straight. We went coast to coast, Canada, and we went into the States, like went to Hawaii, which is where we met the club owners from Alaska. And so they approached me and they're like, hey, you want to come back to our hotel room and see a video of our club in Alaska? And I thought, well, that's the most unique pickup line I've heard. They're just like, really? Like, you really think I'm going to come up to your hotel? You guys, what? But turns out they courted us a whole week. They flew down to court us at Wave in Hawaii and convinced us to come up. And at that time, we were all trying to find long-term gigs to write, because we were really into writing, trying to write together. That was like trying to corral cats at times, because we all had such different music styles.
Right.
And
a language sometimes too.
Yeah, and actually it's funny because I remember Flip, because we shared an agent. Like we well, you guys used Hazen, but we used was it Rob McClellan, who was our star maker at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember every now and again Flip would be at the office. I just remember him being like a funny dude. And just just a really good guy. But the language thing I did get every now and again, like for sure, because
he was ready to go his hair's cut. His hair's cut.
Right. Exactly. Get hairs cut. Yes. And but so that would be interesting because they were all from Quebec, right?
Mm-hmm. And their influences were a little different than mine, and then Vaughn's influences were different from theirs. So it was tough to get, and then when Paul joined, same thing. So it was tough to get us to get a cohesive kind of style going down.
Okay, so your influences were like who were you influenced by?
Oh, I think people like Hart and, you know, some of the other women that bulldoze their way into the industry. I just thought, that's amazing. I want to be doing stuff like that. And I mean, I was sang lead in bands before, but I was hired to play bass in Fear of Flying. When we started doing the gigs that were longer than an hour, for instance, like to come up to Alaska and in Hawaii, we had to have like another set of material because we were just like a feature band.
Yeah.
Is how we grew together. And so we needed more songs, and that's when stuff like Great Big in the Sky came in, and I can't even, Atlanta Miles, you know, stuff like that, just filler. I think I only sang like 3 songs in the whole night or something.
Well, you use the term feature band because you don't really hear that anymore. Because once again, like we were talking about, there's no such thing as a show. It's just not. There's, you know, you might go to a casino and see a show. But the typical bars, you know, they're just not there right now.
And they may not be, again, just from this pandemic experience.
Sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're hoping that that's going to bounce back. But I mean, I think what we're finding, we're talking to so many people, and everyone's kind of bummed out. But at the same time, we're always being a little bit optimistic. And if anything, like necessity is the mother of invention, we'll find a way to recreate something, to reinvent something, some way to. Because again, from our perspective, we get the itch under our skin. You gotta perform. You have to entertain. And there's an audience out there who wants it. Now, how they want it, exactly. Will it be at a bar? Will it be on a video screen? Will it be at a concert hall? Will it be social distancing? Or who knows? Who knows what it'll be? But it's still got to exist.
Here we're approaching it by doing mostly outdoor concerts this summer. We do have some indoor gigs booked for like August, but we're keeping those open just to see what's happening, you know, because we've been told, I have a friend that works at the CD, that there's another wave of this coming through in the fall that's going to be much more serious than the spring wave. So just by their statistics and monitoring what's going on around the world, that'd be great if that doesn't happen, but.
I'm ever the optimist. I'm the guy running with scissors all the time. I'm the guy that's standing in a puddle of water and an open light socket. So
I have a new mask anyhow. So
yeah. Isn't that wonderful? I don't know if you saw, he had a posting on there last week. You look like the friggin' Unabomber. He had the sunglasses.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I honestly didn't. I thought if somebody drew a picture of me, I didn't know. I was like, hey, how'd you draw it so fast? I didn't know. I don't pay attention.
Crack open a history book every now and again. You won't post pictures like that. Anyway, so Fear of Flying, I guess, for lack of a better term, packs it in. And you had mentioned you started 13 or so odd bands in that club.
Well, we actually decided that Derek was announced that he, until we're engaged, and they were going to take 2 weeks off, I think, to go, you know, honeymoon or whatever. And that just seemed overall around the time, like for me, it was that way, where I just thought, I need to be writing my songs now. I need to be getting to focus more on what I intended to do, which I totally put to the side, you know, when I joined the band, because they were a spectacular band. I wanted to be a part of that. I wasn't writing my own material during that time. And you know, you can only go so long without using your voice that way before it just gets frustrating. So I had a job offer up here and didn't have to go back to Canada, but Derek had the visas. So I went home for a bit, sold the bass, got not my Steinberger, a different bass I had, and got a ticket back up and got my visa in order and stayed.
So are you like a citizen there now, or?
I have a permanent green card. Yeah.
Okay.
I married an Alaskan-born guy who produced my second album, and just a monster player, but I didn't know that. So here I was playing all the instruments, and one other guy said, you know, Sean plays a little bass. You want to give him a try? And I thought, if I don't like it, I'll just, you know, throw it down in the mix. The guy played fretless, and he had an outstanding review in Bass Player magazine.
Oh.
He's called Watch For. I didn't know he was that good of a player. So he plays this friggin' bass solo over a mellow song I wrote, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope I wasn't cocky before this. For me to ever pick up a bass again, you know? And he became my husband well, we were engaged for 11 years before we got married, and just, you know, doing albums with each other, because we formed a record label. We wanted to bands a space that they could come into too, much like MJ and Kurt do, you know, only they're mainstays, you know, they're iconic in the local scene. And we did that and built a couple of recording studios ourselves. And even actually in this house now, we built one, and I later converted it after he passed. But that was our life for, you know, if you have hemophilia, you're pretty diminished in your capacity to be mobile at times. So he couldn't be out in the world, so we made the best of it, you know, the world coming to him. And he did monstrous recordings, like just a friggin' ridiculous talented guy. So it's good. He lived a good life.
Is that stuff that we could find and post?
Oh, yeah, I thought I should bring the covers up. So we did 5 albums. One of them's out of press, and I couldn't find the 4th one just as I was running up the stairs. But they're on like iTunes and CD Baby and all the other digital, you know, spots. I haven't posted my own website up just because I really took a serious break from music after he passed, but also even after the earthquake, because I did the repairs on the house myself, and I broke my wrists and my hands, so I had to get 4 surgeries. Yeah. But the house is fine.
Well, how's your wrist? Yeah.
Well, slow, man. Like, the surgeon was hilarious. I said, so I play guitar, and how long will it be before I'm up and running? He said, oh, within 3 days. No chance. Oh my God, it's been like a year plus now. And I'm still, like, there'll be times where I'll pick up my guitar and I'll be like, and your left hand is like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And then somewhere in your brain, you're saying, I'm playing this rhythm. And somewhere in the other part of your brain, you're saying, oh, no, you're not. So there's a total disconnect that you have to relearn this language that is like our second language, right? Thing.
Well, there's a reason why they call it practicing medicine. I don't know if you knew that or not, but you found out the hard way.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna just try and approach it in different ways that don't seem as traumatic as that. Right now, I'm singing in that band, which I'm fine. I love fronting. Just pick up the mic and go out in the audience, mess with people. You know, like we're doing Great Gig in the Sky. It's fun. I mean, because that's what 30 years later or something. Mm-hmm.
Now, Paul, when we were talking to Paul, he loved Alaska, loved it, loved the people.
Yeah.
But he had a little one that was sick, and the health bills near killed him. So he was at a point where his sort of frustration said, I'm done with the United States of America and move back home. You know, so if you was with a permanent green card, can you get access to, like, do you pay into like a Medicare type program?
I have health insurance with the Obamacare Act that happened that he put that in. I mean, it's a bit pricey, but you can also write it off on your taxes at the end of the year.
Okay.
So that's not so bad. I mean, it's weird for me, right? Because I'm like, well, I can go back to Canada and get whatever I need whenever I need it. And that was a discussion Paul and I had too. The thing for him, and he and I were both talking about it at the time, was the importance of being close to family. And he felt it was just really time, you know, spend some time with his mom and his sister, and just really let kids know their family. Mm-hmm. So that was key. And I'm so glad he did that. And he's obviously very happy.
But it's cool. I mean, you still know, obviously you're there because you have connections, and you still know some people that are from away that there, and you obviously probably made new friends. So, you know, I'm guessing you're staying there, right?
Well, I have a pretty amazing house. My husband and I built it as we had the money. So when he passed, it wasn't quite finished, but I finished it. And so now it's a labor of love, but it's also a really friggin' nice house. So my partner, well, we're in a weird place right now, but he did a lot to help. Yeah. What is it they say on Facebook? It's complicated. It's complicated.
Yeah.
But he loves this place too. And I mean, it's crazy views in every direction. It's like there's a river that runs down the 4 acres of the property called Eagle River, hence the name of the city or the suburb. It's a big river. big noisy river, and there's mountains in every window and hikes like in every direction. So, you know, there's bears and moose and rabbits and coyotes and sometimes wolves, you know, things like that right out the
Sounds
door.
beautiful, though.
That's
And this,
super
you
fun.
know, I think I made a post not too long ago. It's like, I am so scared to ever visit Alaska for fear I'll never come back home. You know what I mean? It's just like, it just
There
sounds
is
like,
that. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, for years I had to do the J1 visa process. First, it was every 3 months I had to fly back to Canada, then every 6 months, and then every year.
right.
And then finally, when Sean and I got married, it was like 3 years later that I had my green card. And that was a big relief.
Right.
For a lot of reasons. But I mean, I'll always be Canadian. I can come home whenever I want.
That's right.
I like that. You know, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, you know, I'm sitting here and it's funny as you were talking. So you play bass, you build houses. Is there anything Colleen doesn't do?
Mm-hmm.
I have retreats at my house, and I teach energy medicine, and I am a yoga instructor, although I'm not teaching right now. That whole hands thing, you kind of need those for yoga. And I'm the cook. I have amassed a lot of recipes for clean living. Like I have celiac, I'm a gluten-free girl. I need to be, I'm absolutely allergic. And keto style cooking, or without dairy and no sugar, things like that, but making it yummy, because why would you want to eat cardboard, you know? I do that. I like hiking. I used to like biking, but I would go off trail, and no sooner would I be off trail than I would come smack into a moose. And man, that just takes the fun right out of it.
Yeah.
When you got to have the bike between you and the moose, and you're like, what have I done? I can't run away. I'm in cleats, you know, like that got frustrating, but I'm kind of missing that. So that might be the next thing.
Moose with the gun.
Well, I
So-
came home for work, and I came home with it. Very good that you're doing all that. I came home from work and stared at my wall for 10 minutes. So, yay me.
Don't get me wrong, like during this pandemic thing, I had a lot of plans to finish some projects and, you know, get this, that, and the other thing going. Oh, the other thing I have, which is my big baby right now, is I have a product line, because I've been a therapist as well as a teacher for, 25 years. Something I started when I got up here and developed an interest in, so I just kept going with it. So I developed a product line for transdermal supplementation of like amazing things for your system that are all natural, and then an oral supplement line with my partner, who's a doctor of Chinese medicine. So combine those things, and we're about to go live. I just put the trademark application in, like, I don't know, a month or two ago, and that takes a little bit. Branding, all that stuff. But that's my baby, because I don't know, I just got really sassy, that Cape Breton sassy, when I'd be looking at this natural product and seeing just all this in it that is toxic. Like, how do they even get to name it natural? So I went from the place of, if it's in my kitchen cupboard, it's safe to eat, it's safe for your skin. And then, of course, you know, really got into the research of some of these amazing nootropics and herbs that just, they don't just make you feel good, they heal the thing that's causing you to not be good in the first place. So
Okay,
that's
so
my passion.
what can I take for a torn rotator cuff?
Oh, well, I've got, it's called Motion Potion, and it's, gosh, it sounds a little, yeah, it's for injury motion. I just realized for a second what that kind of sound. I'm like,
I'll take 10.
maybe I need to do that.
Suddenly all I hear is like the
Care
theme
what
to
it does. I
Shaft.
don't even care what it does,
Well,
Colleen.
arnica,
Sold.
just there, you could go pick up arnica in the store, or helichrysum essential oil, and put a little carrier oil in it, because you should never put pure essential oil straight on your skin. It'll burn, and you'll develop a sensitivity. I mean, it is so concentrated, it's crazy, but it's amazing plant too. So you do that. There's some Chinese herbs that you could put directly on there. Yunnan Biao is one that I would say. It's a powder, and it smells kind of, I don't know, like a cross between dirt and Chinese food, but it's wondrous on your skin. So good for pain relief there too. But arnica,
Okay.
be able to find arnica super easy.
So what I'm going to do is, after this is over, I'm going to thank you for joining us, and then if you can send me that, I'll go look for it.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Colleen, yeah,
But
like you're.
Cape Bretoners are like this though. We have tons of projects going, right? We're always creative because we're generations of people that had to make a living where none existed before that.
Right.
And you know,
Maritimers are like
it wasn't easy to get to a hospital or to a doctor or to whatever. I mean, like I said, if your ancestors are right in Cape Breton, or they come from Newfoundland, where do they come from?
I did that ancestry test there, the 23andMe.
Yep, me too.
Mostly European, 1% Asian somewhere, less than 1% Native American. So Irish, Scottish, French, English were my main kind of,
Okay.
which of course every Cape Breton, I think.
But it's kind of like you said, it's that
Yeah.
pioneering spirit. Then that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, we're immigrants. Our generations back were immigrants. They had to come to Cape Breton, which is not exactly great gardening soil, or you know what I mean. Like you gotta work it there.
That's
so.
right. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and tenacious people. My grandfather was a painter at the Fortress of Louisbourg for 50 frickin' years. Imagine that.
My partner's grandmother lived in Louisbourg before she kind of moved down to the lower 48, we call it, the rest of the states. So it's a really small world. So he's sort of a token Canadian. I've been trying to teach him things, so if he goes, they fit right in.
Does he say A?
I've tried
Canadians
to,
don't
but
say
he's
A.
more Italian roots, so when he says A, it's more like gesturing. So
Yeah. And you got to introduce. Well, you can't because you're very healthy. But I was going to say, introduce him to Donair because that would be Atlantic Canadian, right?
Yeah, and different pizzas like a combo pizza.
There's a new keto donair, eh? No, there's not.
There's a keto.
No. I couldn't even say it with a straight face. I tried to. It's like, yeah, it's a keto donair with the donair sauce.
That's right up my alley because I don't know. I like when there's you have 13 guests staying here for a week. You got to come up with some serious recipes and menus. It all has to fit everybody's allergy stuff. So no nuts here, or no sugar there, or no dairy there, which we prefer anyway. Because it kind of fatigues people out while they're trying to learn.
Well, you know what, Colleen, that'll be a great time to have retreat weekend. We're gonna teach you how we ate back in the day. You just make them big bowls of craft dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
This is a sacred food from Canada.
Right.
And Mike Leo, in between days, had his hot dogs in the fridge the week before. You can eat those. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what were they called? They're signed with Sarah's label. Oh, and that's a funny story too. I auditioned for Sarah McLachlan, but I was going out on tour, Hard Rock Miners, because their singer Heather was going through chemo at the time. So I took the tour with them so they could finish the tour. Almost got the Sarah thing too, but she said, your resume is very enthusiastic, which was, code for there's an awful lot on there, girl. Because I had said, I want to have 2 albums out this time, and I want to, that kind of stuff. But it was wonderful to hang with her and jam my songs with Sarah McLachlan. Yeah, she's a wonderful person. Another, East Coaster too.
That's right.
Why are they telling you that? Oh, so Hard Rock Miners, we were in Toronto going on the TV there. What's the big? It wasn't M.
What, Much Music?
Much Music.
Yeah, and the shaker broke, and so I don't know why I had craft dinner, but I taped the box up and took it and shook it as my shaker, on stage. So
absolutely, keep it real. Keep it real.
That's right, and then you can take it home and eat it.
Sure. It's multitasking. It's multifaceted.
It really is. It's an all-purpose.
Ghetto shakers. We call that ghetto shakers.
Well, and I will tell you one thing. If you're ever hankering for KD, I found out by accident that the Walmart KD is actually way better. Just saying. And it's cheap. So anyway.
It's made of tofu.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, one, I can't eat the gluten in the KD anymore.
Right.
Tofu depends where the soybeans come from, but it ain't actually good for you a lot of times.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
It's an estrogen modifier. It's a better way to
You'd be a hard dinner date.
I really eat because I probably can't eat.
Right.
What's on the menu.
Imagine the guy works up the courage. I'm gonna finally ask Colleen out, and then there's only 2 restaurants in the entire world that he can
Where do
take.
you think I'm the cook?
Where's your water from? She might drink the water. Where's the water from?
Can you make sure it doesn't have gluten in it, please?
Right. Listen, what you need to do, like we're gonna have to run here because it's getting kind of late for us. The I need to have some, like, if you can send to Sean or I, like, so the information that we can find the albums. You said you had 5 albums that you released.
Yeah, and 2 because I did an album for Factor as well, and another company. Geez, I don't remember.
You don't just forget making 7 albums now, Jesus, Colleen. It's like
Well,
5 plus 2 plus 1 over there, you know.
One in the can that never got released because Sean died about that time, so it's ready to I'm ready to get that back out too.
Right.
But this is my year to get back into writing.
Yes.
There you go.
You should. You absolutely should, for sure. I'd like to hear more about your holistic and your natural healing stuff. That's kind of cool.
I ended up talking more about that in music. That's funny.
Well, hey, you know what? We're just happy that we're happy to see you after 30 years. So you
Yeah. No,
and we talk about whatever you want.
I mean, I've met some great musicians here, had some great music memories, you know, did some wonderful traveling. The clubs up here are pretty crazy. You can do, or different times you can, if they're out in the wild, you can do more wild things. But that Chilcoots Charlie's Club was, my goodness, there was stories upon stories there of just craziness. And
When you can play there for 12 weeks, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, 12 weeks in a row, I never heard tell of it
They
before.
could break the bands. It was more, they had a sort of a pride about, if the band came in for 8 weeks and they were newbies, man, they would send up coot-sized shots of like kamikazes or whatever that are doubles and triples. And, you know, just get the band shit-faced. And then the band is drinking with the audience. And oh my God, like there was one band, Lebansky, I filled in for them because the club said basically they couldn't come back unless he has a singer because their other singer would get so drunk that they wouldn't sing anymore. But this band, they're a great band, but I remember lying on the floor of the stage and thinking, I don't think I can get up. How am I going to sing on the floor? And then I thought, enough of this. You know, you can't drink on stage. So I went back to the, you know, fear of flying rules of, do your job and then celebrate doing your job well. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to do is, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to send you a DM.
Okay.
And you send me all the links and all that stuff, and we'll make sure we get them put up.
Okay.
Absolutely great seeing a fellow Cape Bretoner who I had no idea was a fellow Cape Bretoner for all these years.
Yeah, you got
amazing.
Brother, he's a good guy.
I will.
We'll do
Actually, why don't you do this too? When I send you the message, you send me his number and I'll look him up for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll send you. I've seen some of the great friggin' bios you guys have put together. They're really in depth. I don't know how you found all that material because I'm thinking, do I even remember that year or that decade, or, you know, you guys do great work. So
we just make shit up on the spot. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So everybody's bios are not real. Okay.
They're 100% fake. Come on. But, you know, they look good, right?
Yeah.
We had somebody was like, that's not me. They said this the other day. Dave did the bio for this other guy.
Oh, the bios. Oh,
you know, you got to. Yeah.
How are you finding all that material? Because are the band guys remembering this stuff?
Oh, well, it's a little bit of research. I thought you meant the videos. Yeah, we just make this shit up. The bios, no,
I mean, they're really great, guys. That's some serious research and know-how to, you know, find those facts out.
Well, it's really.
That's all. That's all. Truthfully, that's Dave. Dave does all the work. I'm the funny guy. Dave does the bio.
You're not. I'm the funny guy.
Come on. What? Come on. Start reading the fan mail, bud. You know where we're going. Flowers are you. I'm funny. Yeah. Right. That's the hate mail, not the fan mail. Sorry.
Whatever. You're funny.
Well,
Jesus.
what is it? Any press is good press. I've learned over the years.
Yeah.
That's actually true. No.
Print. What is it? Print a picture and spell my name right. That's all we care about, right?
Actually, over the years, I've had to say, no, you do not have the right to publish that without me hearing it and reading it first, because I've done some interviews and TV stuff where I'm like, I'm what now? they sensationalize it to suit their means, but you sound like a friggin' lunatic from, what they come up with. No offense to responsible journalists, but that happened too many times where I just thought,
Are we journalists?
So,
Are we journalists?
so
Can we
you're,
call ourselves
you're
journalists?
obviously you're obviously going to want to see a copy of this before it gets posted. Right?
Ding.
You don't have the dirt on me, so how are you going to write something like that?
And you know what?
no.
Even if we did, we wouldn't use it because it's not about that. But I guarantee you, Dave will cook up one awesome bio for you.
Well, and
Guaranteed.
how much dirt can I have anyway, right? I'm not that.
Look at you. You look like the freaking, you're as pure as a driven stone, for God's sakes. You left here looking like a Brady Bunch dark kid, and now you're Carol Brady, right?
Well, I was camping for the last couple of days. That probably helped, just getting out of the city. And
I honest to God, I said to Sean, I said,
here.
I don't think it's the same girl. I don't think it's the same. I'm not sure.
Here, I'm gonna. It'll be noisy, but I'll show you why I live here. And now you're never gonna want to. Like if you come up, you'd be like, why am I? Okay, so let's see if I can get it right.
Oh my Jesus!
Wow.
And you can hear the river because it's freaking loud just below me. There, you can see it there too.
This is your view?
Oh yeah, I'm on the deck, and it's out of every window in the house.
Wow.
Pretty cool, eh?
Very cool.
River down there. I mean, I don't know how big it looks from there, but it's like 20, 30 feet across, and pretty
That's
neat
very
to
cool.
lull yourself to sleep to in it.
And when we're done here, I'm going to go tell my neighbor who never closes the drapes on his window to knock it off. So I'm very jealous right now.
It's not very often I'm speechless, but right now I'm like speechless. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't have to say to that. That's
incredible.
Stunning. Stunning.
That was we lucked out with the property, and then it took us a lot of years to develop it, but I reaped the rewards of my husband's sort of dedication to us, I guess, by how we did things. He was an amazing craftsman that way, so that helps. Because honestly, when I got back here and was trying to figure out how to build walls and stuff, I'm like, I know I've done this before, but I can't remember. Oh man! But then we had YouTube by that time, so
Yeah. God love YouTube, man.
Right.
Yeah.
We're visiting. We're going to take the show on the road. So
Yeah.
we're at a bar in Dartmouth on the 25th of July. But I think the next one in August, I think we'll go to Alaska for. That's
right. Why not?
Yeah.
And get, Pete and MJ and I, we could go to Kurt's studio, her husband's studio, and, hang out and shoot the shit there. Because Kurt is a walking encyclopedia of all things Alaska, and certainly of musicians. He's recorded everybody up here.
And he's one cool looking dude, man. I haven't added him to Facebook.
He totally is. Yeah. I matchmaked them, by the way. I put them.
Oh, look at you go.
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I've learned a long time ago that I don't do anything to ever piss off MJ. So we.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
She's a sussy girl. Those new friends are sussy.
Well, and you know what? Just before we wrap, the funny thing about her, God love her. We did the interview. What, Dave? 5-6 weeks ago with her. Was it about 5 or 6 weeks ago?
Well, about 5, 4. Yeah, 4 or 5.
And it was just like, man, Alaska didn't do anything to beat the Newfie accent out of her. And it was so funny because she was so matter of fact in what she was talking about. It was awesome. So.
Yeah. No, she's been active in the scene. She probably told you that she's written a kid's book and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mover and a shaker for sure. They're a good team together.
That's awesome.
And
Sounds
it's
like
funny.
somebody
I'm
else I
talking
know.
about Pete, I don't know. I guess it's not just the Cape Breton spirit, but now I'm in Alaska and I'm sort of bored and I need to have a house. I will build my house, things like that. So
that's awesome. Listen, we're so proud of you, seriously, Colleen. And I'm really happy you came on the show. It took a friggin' long time to get you on here, though. Oh my God.
I know. I'm not sure all of the barriers, what that was all about, but I think because when the weather gets nice,
stop stalking me.
No, we'll go outside when the weather gets nice because there's too many months of just dark, cold. That would be the reason. Makes sense. You go to Alaska. Don't come in the winter.
Yeah.
Right on.
Formidable.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you again. It's been just 32 years or so. So it's great to actually see you, and you look great. The place is, look, I won't be able to unsee that now. That view is going to be haunting me, right? It's amazing. Seriously, I get it.
Well, yeah. I mean, and the whole state is like that. It's a big state. It's freaking huge, right? Bigger than the rest of the United States, although
That's right.
they don't seem to come on that. And it's just a cool place. It's extreme. It's land of extremes for sure.
Yeah.
You get used to that, though. I mean, that's another thing like being home. There's a lot of extremes home. You know?
Well, now Sarah Palin's got me. I can go visit. We'll see how it works. So.
You'll have to see her in contact. Well, maybe we can go to her house where she could see the Russians.
Yeah,
That's right. There you go.
Or I'll just take you to Homer where you can actually see Russians, not Wasilla where she claims she could see them from. I don't know.
Fair enough.
It sounds like a cool road trip. I'm just saying, it sounds like a really cool road trip to me. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
it is. It would be.
listen, take care of yourself. We're going to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Did you ever get back home or no?
I was home 2 summers ago, or was it last summer? Jeez. And for unfortunate reasons, the death of my auntie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I try and get back to visit my brother like as often as possible because we're really close. You know, and there's just he and I now. Our parents and grandparents and most of our aunts and uncles have passed. So.
Well, you send me his number and I'll look him up for sure. 'Cause
Yeah.
like you say, he's just down the road. And I was going to say, forget the Brady Bunch. Dave always does the Columbo. We're almost out. Oh, another thing, right?
No, I have to pee again, so we're done. That's it.
All right. Fair enough.
We're done.
Well, I gotta go.
Great seeing
That's
ya.
it.
Good seeing you guys. And thanks for all the great work you're doing, really.
All right.
Oh, listen,
We will be in touch.
Okay.
you take care.
Okay. You too.
Peace out.
Bye.
Barstools